Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. On Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
Welcome to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Linda Joy, publisher of Aspire Magazine, the premier inspirational digital magazine for women since 2006. You know, countless diets, cleanses, and 30-day challenges are geared, as you know, to help people lose weight, heal their digestion, and have more energy. Yet these temporary protocols often fall short when it comes to true transformation. That's why I've invited nutrition expert Carly Pollack, who is joining me to share her unique understanding of body science, brain wiring, and spiritual principles to facilitate real long-term change. Carly is the author of Feed Your Soul and is the founder of Nutritional Wisdom, a thriving private practice based in Austin, Texas. A certified clinical nutritionist with a master's degree in holistic nutrition, Carly has been awarded Best Nutritionist in Austin 5 years running and has helped over 10,000 people achieve their health and happiness goals. Welcome, Carly.
Thank you so much.
You know, what attracted me to the book, I have to tell you, was the title immediately, Feed Your Soul, right? And I love that you integrate the body science, the brain wiring with spiritual principles. So I was like, let's get her on the show to have this conversation.
Yeah, you know, I feel like you just can't do one without the other.
Well, bring us back to your journey, right? Because I always believe that our own journey leads us to the inspirational work that we're doing in the world. I know that's been true for myself, and I've discovered in over 300 radio shows, it's been the message of many of my guests. Is that your truth too?
Absolutely. We've heard that quote before, that we teach what we most need to learn. And I just find that rings true, just like you said, you know, for so many of us teachers. For me, it really started when I was a young child. I was very anxious as a young kid. And I really don't know where it came from. It was truly this internal drive at a young age to search for that answer of, you know, how can I feel enough? And my parents did not know what to do with me. They, you know, I always wanted to get the 100 on a test, and they would say, Carly, it's okay if you don't do everything perfectly. You know, they just wanted me to relax and be a normal kid. But I was just really, you know, had it stuck in my head that I needed to be perfect. And that, of course, drove a ton of anxiety and worry for me, because anytime we try to control things that are out of our control, we're going to feel anxious and stressed. And so I started to eat as a way to comfort myself. And also, you know, it was multifactorial, coming from a Jewish family where we really reward with food, we celebrate with food. I would have to, quote unquote, finish my plate. So, you know, I find that at a young age, oftentimes, unfortunately, kids who are naturally conscious eaters are taught to ignore that piece of their bodies because parents are so worried that they're not going to get the nutrition. So it's like, oh, finish your plate, eat your vegetables, and all of those things coming from a family that celebrated food and rewarded with food and punished with food. You know, if I was punished, dessert would be taken away. And if I went to the doctor and got a shot, we would go get ice cream. So I know many people listening have also had that experience of food taking on a bigger power because of the ways we used it when we were growing up. And, all of those things created a weight issue for me, of course. And then I went through puberty, which was even worse. And that's what started the on and off dieting, the obsessive relationship with food, poor body image, and, and the search for something real to be able to heal my relationship with food and live in a body that I was proud of.
So when was it, Carly, that you woke up that enough is enough?
After college, and by that point I had spent, almost a decade dieting and yo-yoing my weight, up 10 pounds, down 5 pounds, up 15, down 10. I got to the point where I would lose and gain the same weight within the week. Monday through Friday, I put myself into food prison, and I counted my almonds, and I ate my salads. And then on the weekend, I broke free with reckless abandon, and I, escaped food prison and binged and ate whatever I wanted. And so the weight was a really interesting cycle, because I would have one skinny day, I would call it. By Friday, because I had eaten healthy from Monday through Friday, by Friday I would finally start to feel that bloating go down, and I would start to feel some reprieve. But then Saturday and Sunday I ate horribly, and Monday I found myself in the same place every single week, this diet-induced Groundhog Day where we're kind of banging our head against the wall going, did I do that again? Did I just go to that restaurant that I said when I left last time that I would never eat this again, or I would never overeat again? And did I just do the same exact thing within a week's time? And so it was that feeling of what I'm doing is not working, and what I'm doing is focusing on food and focusing on diets and exercise. And if that's not working, I need to try something else. So I don't know if it was this major aha moment where there's this story I have to share going, oh, this day, I woke up. It was really over a period of time starting to realize that I was not having success and trying different things and going, you know what, maybe this is about my mind. And then I read a book, and then the tool from that led me to another tool. And I do think that we tend to look for those moments where we're going to have some sort of humongous awakening, and then from that point on be the healthiest versions of ourselves. And I really don't feel like it happens that way for most of us. Instead, I feel that we make small shifts and discoveries and almost little mini aha moments, and that when we look back over a period of time, that they really do add up to something major.
Oh, I believe that for myself anyway. I've had all these grand schemes, I'm going to get in shape, I'm going to do this, but it was so big, I never took forward momentum, right? It wasn't until I broke it down into small steps and made small changes that suddenly it was like I could pat myself on the back like, oh my God, you did that. Where before it was so big, I never took action.
Right.
So as you got into, I want to say reconnecting with your body and learning how to honor it without using food as the, I guess as the deciding factor, you must have had to do a lot of inner work.
I feel like the game of health is 90% inner work, 10% logistics. The logistics meaning when we exercise, what ratio of protein, carbohydrate, and fat we eat, how much water we drink, when we cook, all of those things that we tend to put way too much focus on. It's only 10% of the equation. Now, I'm not saying you don't need that education. We absolutely need to understand what to eat, but doing the mind work, if that yields 90% of your success, we need to put far more of our focus there than the logistics. And, I was very clear when I wrote this book, Feed Your Soul, that it wasn't going to be a diet book. We know that the world does not need yet another, this diet worked for me, so I'm going to pretend it's going to work for everybody book. I was clear that I was writing a book that would arm you with the mental tools to be able to achieve anything you wanted for your health and to do it permanently. But I didn't want to not address food because even though it's largely not about the food, of course, it is partly about the food we eat. So I did dedicate a chapter in the book to talking about how to teach the reader to figure out what is the right diet for them so that they could really transcend the dogma of paleo, keto, vegan, and that one-size-fits-all approach and really find how they could tailor their food to work for their unique biochemical individuality, which is just a fancy word for saying their unique body.
I love it because you look at the whole picture. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I want to talk about why the inner work is the most important piece of weight loss. Let's dive deeper into that because I think it's such an important part as you share in your book. And I'll be back in a moment with Carly Pollack. You can learn more at carlypollack.com.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
We can all use a little more peace and joy in our lives. Don't you agree? Counselor, best-selling author, and self-nurturing expert Kelly Grimes of CultivatingPeaceandJoy.com is passionate about empowering overwhelmed and exhausted women to live with more peace, joy, and meaning through the practice of self-nurturing. Through her experience working with individuals, speaking, providing workshops, and teaching professional and leadership development to forward-thinking organizations, Kelly knows that nurturing peace in the world begins from the inside out. That's why she created the free Cultivating Peace and Joy mobile app that brings you beautiful self-nurturing reminders, guided meditations, empowering practice tools, and daily prompts with an inspiring question to guide your daily self-nurturing practice. Download your free Cultivating Peace and Joy mobile app today at cultivatingpeaceandjoy.com.
Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth Radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America in your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Welcome back. You're listening to Inspired Conversations. With me today is Carly Pollack, author of Feed Your Soul and the founder of Nutritional Wisdom. So, Carly, we were just talking before the break about inner work and it being, as you said, 90%. It's the most important piece of weight loss. Where do we start? You know, for someone that really is struggling with this part, which, as you share, is such an important one, where can they start?
The place to start absolutely is with bringing more awareness to your thoughts, your stories, and your beliefs about food, about your body, and about weight loss. And I challenge every single person listening today to take inspired action, and when you finish listening, grab a piece of paper or even pick up your phone and go to the little notes section on your phone and just write the sentence, thoughts I think about weight loss. My story about my body. my story about healthy eating, and then just jot down a bunch of words, or maybe you like to write more fluidly. But let's take this for example. Let's say person A writes, thoughts I think about weight loss, hard, impossible. I have so far to come. No motivation, lazy. This is their story about weight loss. And all of those words signify pain. And humans don't do anything that we attach pain to. It's a survival mechanism. It's a fight or flight inherent mechanism for us to seek pleasure and avoid pain. And this person A, can go on numerous diets and hire trainers and order food online and do everything to set themselves up. But ultimately, they will wind up sabotaging themselves because the inner work is to first identify our thoughts, understanding that our thoughts ultimately drive all of our behaviors. And we need to start to clean up these stories. Now, I don't want this person to feel like they're lying to themselves. I wouldn't clean up the story by saying, it's so easy or, effortless, because that's not real for them. But there are ways to neutralize the story. You can look at things through three lenses. You can make it worse than it is, you could see it as it is, or you could see it better than it is. And the first step is just to neutralize it, one day at a time. That's not saying that this is effortless and easy, but it's getting rid of the story that I have so far to go. It's like I take one day at a time, and one day adds up to 10 days, adds up to 10 pounds, etc. To see it better than it is to say, I have all of the tools and the opportunities and support around me to make this a permanent change. And so you see there's a positive shift. And that is going to drive ultimately a different eating behavior. Now, person B, if they write a list, thoughts I think about, weight loss or being healthy, and they say, a challenge, but I'm up for it, or, my body responds. This is something I always say to myself. My body responds to what I put in it. When I go on vacation, if I, leave my self-care at home and I eat destructively, I gain weight. And when I eat healthfully, I lose weight. And so the positive way of looking at that is, at least my body works for me. I mean, in my clinical practice, I see hundreds, if not thousands of women with hormonal imbalance, adrenal issues, thyroid issues, where their body does not respond to the foods that they put in or the way they move. And so the way I can be positive, even if I've gained weight, is my body responds to what I put in it. So if I can shift what I put in it, my body is responding. And these thoughts and stories and shifting them to a more positive belief around food is going to allow you to attach pleasure to the things that you need to do. And it is the only and the very first place to start.
It's so powerful. And the stories that we tell ourselves, that creates our reality, as you know, right? So by just taking little micro movements to change that story, or as you share, neutralize it, that starts us on the path to reaching our goals.
Yeah, I shared with you that I have a 10-month-old baby who right now is going through a growth spurt, and she's not sleeping at all. And I was up every 2 hours last night, and I woke up this morning with a full day ahead of me, and I could feel my mind already starting the story. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I can't wait to just go back to sleep. I can't believe I have this long day. And in a way, the mind always does this. It always wants to turn the gift into the problem. Like, here it is. I have this day. I have the honor of speaking to you and sharing this message to hopefully inspire and support people. I have clients. I have the opportunity to spend time with my family today. I mean, massive gifts that my mind is going, you're too tired. Now this is a struggle. And so through awareness, I said, I'm not going to say that story, because what I focus on, I feel. And what I feel, as you said, becomes my reality. So I just started to neutralize it. I am going to have a calm presence throughout the day. It doesn't have to be tired. I can just, move slowly and use my awareness to feel comforted. And then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to see it better than it is. And I was like, I make my own energy. I get source energy, not necessarily from sleep, but I have food to energize me. I have passion to energize me. I am enthusiastic about life. And I just started to, positive Pollyanna myself. And I feel, extremely energetic right now. I could go exercise right now. And so it is so powerful. And I don't want to make it sound easier than it is. We know when we talk about this stuff, it always sounds easier than it actually is. It's not easy. It's difficult. But just because something's difficult doesn't mean that we shouldn't do it. In fact, when something feels hard for me, I've changed even that story. I go, this feels hard because it's right. This must mean that I'm about to do something. I'm about to push through resistance, which I talk a lot about in the book. And I'm about to up-level my health in some way. And so that feeling of it's hard, instead of going, it's hard, I may not do it, I feel something that's hard, and I think this is a trigger telling me I'm on the right path.
Oh, that's a great reframe. I'll have to remember that one. There's something you said in the book, too. We all know that the opposite of fear is love. And you share that the opposite of willpower, some people hate that word, opposite of willpower is discipline. Let's talk about that.
People use willpower and discipline as synonyms. We think it's the same word. And in my opinion, I think that they are so far separated from each other. Willpower, I feel like the energy we bring to willpower is fear. So willpower, usually looks and sounds like this. We go to the restaurant, we sit down, there's all these foods in front of us, the bread basket, people order appetizers that we're with that we want to eat, but we know they're not, pushing us to live our best lives, our best health. And so we start to do this. Ooh, I really want that food. Oh, but I shouldn't have it. Ooh, but it's going to taste so good. And you got to live. Oh, but my jeans are so tight and I don't want to feel fat anymore. And we just have this internal battle and struggle. And then we wind up either eating the food to shut ourselves up because we can't take the inner chaos, or we don't eat the food, but we leave the restaurant and we don't feel empowered. We feel exhausted from using willpower. We feel frustrated. We feel restricted. Our story is, man, this diet is so hard. Why am I being punished? And then 4 days later, we eat an entire bag of potato chips because we're rebelling against something that we don't even remember happened. That's willpower. Discipline is the same scenario, and I'm sitting at the table and I say, you know what, those foods look fantastic. I love them, but I love myself more, and I am not willing to give up what I want most for what I want right in this moment. And there's just this empowered feeling and this feeling of accomplishment, and you leave the restaurant, you feel so good about yourself. There's this one of my favorite quotes is a quote by Jocko Willink, and he's a famous Navy SEAL, and he says that discipline equals freedom. And I have that written down a few places. Freedom is not freedom to do whatever you want when you feel like doing it, because we know the mind will talk you out of doing anything that's good for you. But discipline and doing those things that you may not feel like doing at the moment or that they feel hard equals ultimate freedom, because imagine the freedom you have to live the quality of life that you deserve when your body is at its highest level of health and vitality. So I always say to myself every day, discipline equals freedom.
And I love how you really just broke it down for us, because I never looked at willpower. We always, you always hear your friends or you say it to yourself, you have no willpower, or she has no willpower. But just by you tying it into fear-based, I can see the energetic difference now, right, of what you just described, that willpower is fear-based energy, thoughts, and conversations, where discipline is self-love in action.
And we've actually researched, scientists have proven that willpower gets weakened over time, not stronger. So that's why by the end of the day, we're all eating crap at 8 p.m., at 8 a.m. we're feeling motivated and, we're ready to have our, greens and our smoothies. And then by 8 p.m., we're eating an entire box of gluten-free crackers on the couch or something, worse, cookies, ice cream. And it's because all day you use that willpower not to beep your horn, not to write that angry email, patience with your children or your partner, and then you're exhausted and you have none left. So willpower actually gets weaker as we use it. Think of almost, the battery on your phone. The more you use it, it depletes itself. Whereas discipline, because I believe it's a spiritual practice, the more you practice it, the stronger it gets. And it's like a muscle. You work that muscle, and over time, it's able to handle a bigger load. And that's another way I look at it as well. Willpower weakens over time. Discipline strengthens as you practice it.
Thank you, because I know our listeners are going to take so much away just from that one key element, because I know for myself that was a struggle, right, of judgment, of judging myself. And how you described how you feel at the table after the whole deep conversation was so spot on that, we're exhausted by the time we leave because of that, negative fear-based.
I'm just annoyed. And then I hate everyone around me. I'm like, my friends aren't funny. My, my partner's annoying, and I really just wanted the chips and guac the whole time, but instead I ate guac with a spoon, and I was hating life.
Yeah, and we've all been there, haven't we, ladies? We're going to jump to our break, and we'll be back in a moment. I'm with Carly Pollack, author of Feed Your Soul and the founder of Nutritional Wisdom. I invite you to learn more at carlypollack.com. We'll be back in a moment.
Free your mind. Expand your soul. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Inspiration for a woman's soul. Aspire Magazine. Inspiring and supporting women on the path of self-discovery. Claim your free digital subscription today, which includes access to thousands of dollars of personal development bonus gifts from Team Inspiration partners. Claim your Aspire Magazine subscription today at subscribetoaspire.com.
OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Hi everyone, this is Shay Parker, the host of Best of the Best, which airs live right here on IOM Radio every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm super excited to bring you expert guest hosts, spiritual discussions, free psychic readings, and so much more. I can promise that you will not want to miss this one-of-a-kind, fun, yet touching, down-to-earth show. Join us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific on OTR-FM. This is Shay Parker, and I can't wait to see you there.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
You're listening to Inspired Conversations. Welcome back. I'm your host, Linda Joy. And today we're talking about willpower, discipline, and lots of other yummy things to help you kind of nurture your soul so that you can take care of your body. For many years, I had it opposite. I was kind of disconnected. And Carly, this conversations, I'm like so many women. You know, I've struggled with the food issues also. Mine is not eating enough. So in your book, you mentioned about, and I think this is the truth in life. Before we can attempt to achieve anything, we have to begin by having extreme clarity about the outcome we want to create. So in relation to Feed Your Soul and your teachings, why is that step so essential? And give us an example.
Yeah, I cannot stress how important this is, and not how important it is to do it once, because we've all been there. First of all, most people don't even do this. They start an exercise program or a workout program. They're really not clear on the outcome. It's fuzzy. They know they want to feel better, but there's not a crystal clear picture of what this looks like at the end goal. But let's say the next step is we do it once. We sit down and we write our outcome and we're very clear. And then what happens? We don't look at it ever again. And then we fall off just as we would without ever doing it in the first place. I want you to not only get clear, but you have to keep that clarity every single day. So let me give you an example. When I first start working with people, I always ask them to write down a vision of health for them, and I want details. I want to be able to throw your words up onto a movie screen and have it play like the trailer of your life. And I remember my very first vision, something that was a big pain point for me when I was at a heavy weight and yo-yoing was that I had so many different sizes of jeans. And I remember the shame of having, to ask my mom to take me to the mall to get, a pair of jeans because even my biggest pair of jeans didn't fit me. And I would walk into the closet and I would have 3 or 4 different sizes of jeans. So every day I would wake up, and because I was obsessed with my weight, I would get on the scale, and the scale would tell me if I was a horrible person or a good person, or if the cookies from last night have magically found their way onto my butt yet. And, from there, I went into the closet. And if the scale didn't make me feel bad, the closet certainly was, because based on where I was in my weight loss journey or weight gain journey, I would be only able to wear certain amounts of jeans. And maybe it was even a really bad day where I was putting on, the elastic waistband sweatpants. And my first vision was that I walk into the closet and I take out a pair of size 28 jeans. They were black faded jeans, and I did not own these jeans. This was just this vision. Black faded jeans with holes in the knees, and they were cut off at the bottom. And I put them on, and I know that they're straight from the dryer, and I put them on and I button them, and they button. I take my hand and I run it from the thigh up to the side of my body. There's no muffin top, but I didn't write the word no, because in your vision, you always only want to be positive. So I wrote, and it was smooth, and that I just looked in the mirror and I was able to say, my physical body right now is a reflection of how much I love and care about myself. And in that way, vanity is an amazing, beautiful thing because it means something deeper. And that I then went off on my day. And it's like, you can just see. Can't you visualize me going on and putting those
I could envision you standing in your closet doorway. I could actually envision the jeans.
My Jew hair flowing in the background, like my Jew curls, and I really just really put it out there. I had a white T-shirt on. I tucked it in. I had another vision, I remember, of walking down the beach, and I was in a purple bathing suit, and the sun was kissing my skin, and my hair was blowing in the wind, and I had green sunglasses on, oversized sunglasses, and someone takes a picture of me at that moment, and it's a snapshot, and I look at this picture, and I just am so proud of the way I look. And so that's what I mean by a vision. And the first step is to have a vision, and you may have multiple visions. Like there's one vision, then there's another vision of you exercising or running and you feel strong. I had a very short vision of I'm in the car and I put the seatbelt on and my stomach, is not like flowing over the seatbelt, because when I was overweight, I hated that my gut would be over the seatbelt, and then when I would go over a bump, I could feel my gut jiggle. And so I had all these little visions, but the real work is to go over them every day so that you are crystal clear on the outcome, so that when you're in front of food or when you're, deciding whether or not to do that workout, that is fresh in your mind. And something I still do every single day, even though I've been at my goal weight for a very long time now, is that every morning that I get up, I don't do this in meditation. I do it while I'm doing other things, brushing my teeth, putting my makeup on, making breakfast. I just take, 30 seconds, and I visualize myself eating throughout the day. I visualize myself consciously eating my lunch. I visualize myself saying no to the cookie. I visualize myself sitting on the couch at 9:30, either reading or watching TV, feeling really proud. I visualize myself drinking tea every night and not eating chocolate. And I just do an end goal very quickly, because we know through the study of quantum physics and the study of the brain that the brain can't tell the difference between the visualization of it and the actual doing of it. So it's almost like I'm putting myself through a test run of the day, and then when I come up with that challenge, someone brought cookies into work or a friend calls and says, oh, let's just go out to dinner instead, that I've already practiced saying no thank you, saying yes to me and my goals, and it creates a clarity that I think most of us are desperately needing and lacking.
I think it also gives us this vision to stay motivated and disciplined, because, as you said at the beginning, we start something, but with no big why behind it, we lose it. We just forget again, and then we're back in the old patterns.
You said it. Clarity creates motivation. So anytime I'm not feeling motivated, lately since I had the baby, my meditation practice, which used to be, really fantastic and really consistent, my meditation practice has just, fallen to pieces. And anytime I feel, and not only has it fallen to pieces, but I don't feel motivated to get back into it. And so anytime I don't feel motivated, instead of what we would normally do, which is beat ourselves up and force ourselves to do it and then do it for a few days and then not do it and feel shame about it or guilt, I know that clarity creates motivation. So I start to get really clear on why. What is my outcome of meditation? What is this doing to my body? What is it doing to the cells of my body when I meditate? What would it mean to me in my life to have, to look back and say for the last 20 years, 30 years, 40 years I've been meditating, and what kind of life do I have when that happens? And when you start to ask yourself these questions like, what will I be able to achieve in my life in having this, whatever your goal is, what will be kept from me if I don't do this? How will I be a different person as a result? What emotions will I feel day in and day out that are not available to me now? Answering all of these questions create an immense amount of clarity, and what always follows clarity is motivation. So, I still get unmotivated. There's never a perfect, like I said in the beginning, there's not this aha moment where then from that point on, I'm full cylinders on everything. Life happens, challenges come, there's different seasons of our lives. So I use my own tools. I wrote the book for me too. And anytime I start to lose motivation, I go back, I use my tools, I create clarity. There's some other tools in the book that I provide beyond this, and then I take massive action and get going.
I love it. And I'm thinking of a friend right now who her motivation is she was going to be a mom for the first time. And she always had pretty good eating habits, but didn't exercise. And she said, I want a different story for her, not the family story, right? Not the scripts and all that. So her vision was when she exercised, she saw herself being able to run and play with her child, and of course she envisioned more children. And she said that was her motivation. Because I remember asking her, I said, my God, you went from never being active to being committed. And she said, before the baby was even born, I just started shifting so I could envision myself whole, healthy, and active for her child. And I thought that's the motivation you're talking about, right?
You bring up such a good point that I don't even think I talk about in the book, is that when you find yourself, because many people listening will go, well, I do start out with that clarity. I'm very clear, but that motivation fizzles out. there's an exception to this, which is if your motivation is not in alignment with your soul's journey, it won't work. And what I mean by that is if you're motivated to lose weight so that your boyfriend will find you attractive or your girlfriend will find you attractive, or so that you could, how many times have we wanted to, that upcoming beach vacation or that school reunion, that class reunion, and it's like, okay, I'm going to get in shape, and you're super clear, like you visualize yourself at the reunion in a size whatever dress and you do the work, but it still fizzles out. It's because that motivation was very ego-driven. It was about how other people view you. It was a way for you to find your false sense of enoughness, and it was driven by this kind of external event or thing, and it wasn't an inner, soul's work. I don't know if
this is resonating with me. I believe this.
Yes. So, anytime you find yourself in that place, it's not like I don't enjoy using external goals. I think they're great. If I have an upcoming vacation or, even my family's we're going to San Diego in July, and I've thought to myself, that's going to be really great. I'm going to be in a bathing suit for really the first time since I had the baby. I really want to get motivated. Doing those things, that's okay. It just can't be the only driving factor, because either it won't work at all and it'll fizzle out, or it works, but then what happens the day after that event or thing is over? We go right back to our default habits and patterns because we didn't really do that deep inner work of shifting the thoughts and creating those self-care, musts, et cetera, et cetera.
And I'm so glad you brought this up before we jump to break, because when it's in alignment with your soul, it just, I think, flows with ease and grace, more than when it's ego-driven, as you just shared. We're going to take our last break, and we'll be back in a moment. I'm with Carly Pollack, author of Feed Your Soul and the founder of Nutritional Wisdom, a thriving private practice in Austin, Texas. Learn more at carlypollack.com. We'll be back in a moment.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
The secret to success in life and in business is learning to understand yourself. Because the more you can see what is underneath your reactions empowers you to become a more inspiring and impactful leader. Whether you're looking to develop into a more effective leader in your business, organization, family, or relationship, Dr. Catherine Hayes can help you develop your inherent leadership potential using the power of the Enneagram. Catherine is a dual certified professional leadership and life coach, Enneagram facilitator, speaker, a member of the Forbes Coaches Council, and the author of the best-selling book, Everything is Going to Be Okay, From the Projects to Harvard to Freedom. If you're ready to discover how your Enneagram personality type drives your patterns of behaviors so you can be empowered to live and lead with more confidence and ease, schedule a call with Dr. Catherine today at CatherineHayesCoaching.com.
Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
This is Terry Van Horn, and I want to invite you to join me for my weekly radio show, Healing Light, on OMTimes Radio every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Healing Light, we want to bring love, light, and blessings into your world. You can find out more about us at www.healinglightonline.com. Blessings.
Me, a cat moving in with a new human. It took a little getting used to. She has these weird games she likes to play, like this giant feather. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. It's almost like she thinks I enjoy it. But seeing how much fun she gets out of it, well, I guess it makes it all worth it. Humans.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back. You're listening to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Linda Joy, and with me today is Carly Pollack. And right before the break, we were talking about aligning with your soul's vision, your highest vision for yourself, and not setting goals and expectations based on outside expectations. And I want to talk about that a little more because I love what you said that, yes, of course it's okay that we want to get ready for like your vacation to San Diego, but it's when everything is tied to that type of stuff is when you'll struggle with staying disciplined and motivated.
Correct. Yeah, I don't want the pendulum to swing all the way in the other direction where people feel like, you know how sometimes you'll have a conversation and you have this spiritual conversation and it's almost like too much where people then find themselves lost. They go, but then they feel bad about, wanting to look good in a bathing suit or, then they feel guilty about having that vanity drive them. I am a very vain person. I want my body to reflect how I feel about myself. And, I don't want the conversation to be so, in this kind of hypothetical spiritual realm that people don't feel grounded in the day-to-day desires of what they want. Yeah, I love clothes. I want to go shopping and be able, I want to have so many clothes that look good on me that I have a dilemma that I don't know what to choose instead of, there's only one possible potato sack that could possibly look good on me. So that drives me. And I like to look good in photos, and I like to feel confident in a bathing suit. And I absolutely like to be complimented on my body if somebody says, wow, you look so in shape. It's just that I can't hold on to these things as the only things. And that if, what comes up must come down. If you get high off somebody complimenting you, you get low when nobody's complimented you. And so letting these things kind of be there on the surface without feeling bad for wanting those things, but just fully engulfing yourself and being obsessed with, some people listening, it's not the 40 pounds, 50 pounds that they want to lose. It's 3 pounds. And sometimes I work with someone who is so obsessed with the 3 pounds that their quality of life is so low because they can't get over this idea of perfection. There is a balance between the soul's work and diving deeper and being a person in this culture who wants those things I just mentioned. And it's all good. It just can't be, just the desire piece from an outside perspective.
Oh, I think this is such an important part of the conversation. I'm so glad you brought that up in our conversation today. So let's talk a little bit about some of the most important things that someone who does want to lose weight, what do you feel they need to know?
For people who want to lose weight, they have to understand that a lot of why the weight is on them is most likely because there's something happening in excess. Now, there's always exceptions to the rule. Hormonal imbalance can create lack of weight loss despite doing the right thing. But for most people, if you're carrying extra weight, you're eating too much. And I don't want to give too much I want to use the word weight. I don't want to give too much weight to the calories in versus calories out idea because it's such a 1980s way of looking at food, and it is certainly not the whole story, but it is a piece of the story. The other day I had a client come in, and he was obsessed with, he's like, I did the blood typing diet. I've done keto. I've done Atkins. I've done vegan for a little while. He's like, I just want to know what ratio of protein, carbs, and fat from my ancestry, and he's, very into that. And it's great because that's what I teach, that biochemical individuality, that different diets do work for different people. And in fact, different diets work for the same person at different times in their life. But the truth is, he was overweight because he was eating out too much and eating too much quantity of food and eating too late and doing, the very basic things and not drinking enough water and not moving enough. And I had said to him the last time I saw him, we went over what is the right diet for him. So I gave him the answer he was looking for. But I said to him, just out of curiosity, when you've done all those diets before, which one worked the best? And he said to me, well, honestly, anytime I try any diet, they all kind of work. I lose the weight. And it was really profound because what most of us are struggling with is not can we lose the weight, it's can we lose the weight and keep it off. And I think that we place so much importance on which diet, what ratio, and all of those things that are absolutely, pinpointing it. And certainly more important for people who don't have a lot of weight to lose or their hormones are off balance. But for most of us, just wanting to lose weight, eating less quantity, eating earlier in the day and, cutting it off after 7:30 p.m., having a 12-hour fast where, let's say if you eat at 7:30 p.m., you don't eat again till 7:30 a.m. and giving the digestive system time to rest, moving your body more, getting out, being in nature, getting out from that seat, drinking more water. Those things will push people so far into success that I think one of our the mind's fear and distraction tactics is to hyper focus on, oh, should I avoid bananas because they're a high sugar fruit? Should I only eat this, that? And it's that is not going to yield avoiding bananas and only eating low sugar berries, for example, is not going to yield the highest percentage of positive change for you over your life. But cooking many more of your meals than you eat out will. So I want people to focus, for people who want to lose weight and be healthier, I want you to focus on the major shifts that you believe will yield the highest percentage of positive change and let go of the neurotic details that make you feel restricted and crazy about dieting, and that's the very thing that keeps you from doing it long term. And that is really what this book is about, teaching people what are the shifts that are going to give them the most bang for their buck and how to let go of the mental distractions and fear that keep their change impermanent.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing all of that, especially the part where you said about we focus so much on losing it, but to stay healthy, it's about keeping it off. And we forget that. It's like we're on this one-sided mission, right? I have to make the scale say this number, and there's no plan for maintaining or carrying on our new healthy habits into the future. I can speak for myself. Have you found that with a lot of clients are so focused, as you shared, on that one goal that they forget about the rest?
Yes, and, yes, so many clients, of the thousands of clients I've seen over the last decade. I mean, it's not our fault. It's the way the mind works. I mean, this is why the psychology of the mind is so important in us achieving any long-term goal, because we all share the same goal. No matter what anybody says when they come and sit in front of me or my coaches at Nutritional Wisdom for individual coaching, because we provide one-on-one coaching, and I really encourage anyone who's been trying to do this alone with the help of just books or, just on their own volition for years and years, it's time to get a coach. We know the link between success and accountability is just irrefutable. And so check out Nutritional Wisdom and see if our coaching plans work for you. But not only do I see that that all of our goals are, no matter what people write, that they're the same. Each of us have the same goal. It is to wake up with an authentic desire to do right by our bodies, so much so and so consistently that we achieve the ultimate level of health and vitality, and that our physical body is simply just a reflection of that. So no matter if somebody says, be less anxious, sleep better, poop more regularly, clear my skin, I mean, it's really ultimately one shared goal.
A great tip and strategy to bring our conversation to a close. And I want to encourage everyone. Grab a copy of Feed Your Soul. It has body science, brain wiring, spiritual principles, and Carly is a nutrition expert. Give yourself this gift. Visit carlypollack.com. Learn about her one-on-one services, her online programs, and so much more. You deserve this. Your body deserves this. Carly, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone who listened today.
Until next time, my friends, choose love, choose joy, choose happiness.
Thanks for listening to Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. Join our sacred space every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern and meet leading female visionaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. Inspired Conversations with Linda Joy is a soulful venue where guests share the obstacles they've overcome, along with wisdom and lessons learned on their personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic and soulful living.